What's up everybody, Griffey here with the Looper equivalent of a political ad, except instead of money and time, I'm asking you to go see the most beautiful, wonderful, lubed up fever dream of a movie this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about The Substance, and I'm gonna try to do this without spoiling anything.
People always ask for something new. It's inevitable.
For those of you who are absolute horror fanatics like myself, you know that we've been in a golden age of horror in the past handful of years, right? Starting with your Hereditaries, the rise of A24, the rise of Neon. I feel like this year in particular, 2024, something very special is going on. I feel like this is a year we're going to look back and say that was the start of something very, very special. This year we've gotten so many unique, wild, hyper-stylized movies with the likes of Cuckoo, First Omen, Longlegs, Strange Darling, The Substance. These are the kind of movies that make you feel like you are strapped in your seat. Like a not-so-sad version of Clockwork Orange. The best horror movies always come from a very specific point of view that lets the audience really sink into the tear. This group of movies this year are really latching on to this female body horror idea. So these are not final girls traditionally shown in horror movies. These are women that are running from real terrifying nightmares in themselves. There are many great body horror movies, right? From The Thing to The Fly, every single nightmare David Cronenberg has ever given us. That's true. I think what the body horror of today is doing is adding such an extra personal layer to it. We're really getting the distortion and mutation of the emotional self that really is mirroring and matching the physical self, which is giving these movies extra impact. These are the kind of movies you don't watch. These are the kind of movies you survive. The Substance is a movie about an aging actress played by Demi Moore. She finds out that the men in the company think she's no longer hot enough to continue doing her spandex-clad workout show. This leads her to a drug called the Substance. She takes said substance, and all of a sudden she gets access to her Hollywood career again. And lo and behold, madness ensues. The Substance essentially is a drug kit that allows you to inject yourself. This gives birth from Demi Moore's body to a younger actress played by Margaret Qualley. Some of the most brutal things in the show are just watching Demi Moore look at her body and find no value there, leading her to take this drug that she knows nothing about. The Substance comes in a box that has less instructions than an IKEA, and she just starts jamming it in her body at the very thought that someone might find value in her again. And that leads to a real devastating streak of horror scenes in this movie, right? When I tell you that the transformation scenes in this will rival any werewolf scene you've ever seen, this is absolute horrifying nightmare fuel. As she takes the drugs and gives birth to this younger, more attractive version, you watch as these two women, a woman who's at the end of her road based on age, begins to hate the actress who's at the start of her journey. And you watch the younger actress destroying this older body because she has no concept of what the future might look like. So not only are we watching Demi Moore suffer in the agony and the horrors of people looking at you all the time and judging you based on merits that you have very little control over, we also watch her turn around and do the same thing to Margaret Qualley and hate her for her youth and her vibrance and her potential still before her. We watch Margaret Qualley hate the woman who literally gives birth to her. They are connected as one. We watch her hate this old woman who's taking any of her time away. These bonded women turning on each other is some of the most brutal things that you'll see in this movie, because they're the only two that can see each other for exactly what they are. They can see each other's flaws fully laid bare, and that allows them to become so much more cruel to each other than most horror movie monsters are ever able to become. I think in a world of content creators and celebrities, we are very familiar with people that are horrified of the idea of aging, that are horrified with the idea of an imperfection. It's something that is very common to our culture. LeBron has hair again. LeBron just magically got new hair. This is something that happens all the time. What this movie does is uses genre elements from sci-fi and horror to give it this really monstrous, fun to watch kind of mutation element that really crystallizes the scary headspace of people who cannot appreciate what they see in the mirror. And that is real world scary, right? Watching bodies mutate and be ripped apart is a classic and fun part of body horror. But when you add that extra heart and brain underneath, there's more body to hurt. This movie exists in a perfect place for modern audiences. This is the what do we present to the world? We live in a society today where every bit of value you have comes from a like online from anonymous strangers. People have serious mental health problems because people on the internet say they look like knockoff brand Aquaman. It's hard to put yourself out there. This movie weaponizes what has become a benign evil in our world. The way that we give all of our self-value, everything about us to the world, and then are shocked when they come back and shit on us and make us feel terrible. And the way that you internalize that and become your own worst audience, the way that we thumbs down our own selves, the way we hate ourselves for not being on vacation, for not having a successful OnlyFans, believe me, that happens. This movie takes the idea, the consumptive nature of the internet, of celebrity culture, and really shows what it's like when life starts chewing on the flesh and what's left of us. A lot of times people throw around the word brave when it comes to acting. I don't fully believe it. I think it's nonsense. You're not running into a fire. But it does take an artistic daring to expose yourself in the world the way Demi Moore has in this role. Demi Moore becomes a fascinating actress to play this character, right? An actress who was often known for her beauty and her sex appeal to audiences makes a perfect kind of real life backbone to pin this character on. And I think this is an absolute success story. This will be a performance that is remembered for the ages in the horror community. But the thing audiences will not stop talking about is the finale. I'm not kidding you when I say the last 30 minutes of this movie are a cinematic experience you will never, ever be able to scrub from your mind when you watch it. This is some of the most bizarre imagery that so perfectly sells the symbolic, terrifying journey we've been on in this film. The choices are bold and audacious. The pure, heartbreaking, empathetic moments on top of the bizarre gonzo energy are so impossible for me to explain to you without spoiling anything, so I won't do it. But believe me when I say, you will not forget a second of the absolute madness that the last 30 seconds of The Substance subjects you to. This is where I have to make an absolute desperate plea to you, the viewer. Go see this movie in the theater. Pay the money, spend the time. This is a cinematic drug you will not be able to get out of your body. Do you want to live in a world where all we get are Madam Webs, whatever the hell Borderlands was? Is that the world you want to live in? Or do you want to see these wild, awesome, amazing, hyper-stylized movies that we have been getting this year and not enough people are paying to go see? This movie is playing on almost 2,000 screens. There is absolutely no reason this thing should not be a box office behemoth. Please, please, please go see The Substance. Put this movie in your eyeballs, let it rip your back open so you back up, and let Hollywood know this is the kind of movie we deserve.